eventually it's going to catch up with you. All that banging and heavy lifting finally caught up with me.
After undergoing 13 surgeries, Ronnie Coleman, once the king of bodybuilding, now relies on crutches and a wheelchair to move. But he's not alone. Ryan Crowley's career ended abruptly after a muscle tear. And Justin Vicky, a neck fracture ultimately claimed his life. These are bodybuilders who pushed themselves beyond their limits and ended up broken. Starting with Ronnie Coleman. 8 Mr. Olympia titles earned Ronnie Coleman the nickname The King, but his relentless pursuit of dominance came at a devastating cost that continues to haunt him today. Coleman tied with Lee Haney for 8 Mr. Olympia titles, making him one of the greatest bodybuilders in history. His drive stemmed from an uncompromising work ethic and a competitive mindset forged through powerlifting and football, where pushing through pain was simply expected and celebrated. Coleman was renowned for his heavy lifting, including 800-pound squats and deadlifts, performed with repetitions that would terrify most elite athletes. The warning signs appeared devastatingly early in his career. At 17, Coleman suffered his first back injury while squatting 500 pounds during a powerlifting meet, resulting in a herniated disc. During college football at Grambling State University, he sustained neck and back injuries, which he managed with frequent chiropractor visits but did not fully address.
I've had 13 surgeries, like you said. I've had 8 back surgeries, 3 neck, 2 hip, and I'm still hanging there. Yeah. I'm still working out 6 days a week.
The most catastrophic moment came in 1997 during what should have been a routine leg workout. Coleman squatted 600 pounds for 15 reps when he heard a low pop, indicating another herniated disc. The nerve pain was excruciating, yet he refused immediate surgery to continue competing, a decision that would seal his tragic fate. Between 2000 to 2003, Coleman deadlifted 755 pounds for 4 reps and 800 pounds for 2, and squatted 800 pounds for 2 reps, pushing his body beyond sustainable limits. Coleman underwent 13 surgeries total, including 2 hip replacements, 2 neck surgeries, and 9 back surgeries. His spinal column is fully fused, except for 1 herniated disc, held together with 14 screws, 2 cages, and 18-inch rods. Today, Coleman relies on crutches for short distances and a wheelchair for longer ones, yet continues seeking stem cell treatments in Mexico, determined to walk unassisted again. Ronnie Coleman pushed through pain until his spine was held together with metal, but our next bodybuilder pushed himself so hard he jumped through a window. Callum von Moger. The golden boy of bodybuilding appeared to have everything: the genetics, the look, and the drive to become the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. Callum von Moger was often compared to the Austrian oak for his classic physique, and this comparison fueled an ambition that would ultimately lead to his spectacular downfall. His competitive nature, massive social media following, and desperate desire to maintain his next Arnold image pushed him to train with reckless intensity and take increasingly dangerous risks. Von Moger's training focused obsessively on building a massive aesthetic physique, often involving high-risk lifts designed more to impress his millions of fans than to build muscle safely. But not just that alone. Personal struggles, including mounting legal issues and deteriorating mental health challenges, compounded his drive to prove himself through extreme physical feats. The first major warning came in 2017 when disaster struck during a collaborative training session. Von Moger tore his left bicep attempting a 400-pound barbell curl with Chris Bumstead. The injury required immediate surgery, temporarily sidelining him, but he resumed training aggressively to maintain his physique and social media presence.
So my biceps tendon is completely torn. It will require surgery. It's going to be operated on this Friday. So I've made the call to get the surgery because it's going to give me 100% chances of it coming.
In 2018, von Moger suffered a severe knee injury, further complicating his recovery and career trajectory. This injury overlapped with devastating personal challenges, including discovering he had an unexpected child, adding crushing psychological stress. The breaking point came on May 6, 2022, in the most shocking way imaginable. Von Moger jumped through a second-story window in a reported suicide attempt, allegedly while under the influence of methamphetamine. The incident caused severe spinal damage, requiring emergency surgery and a medically induced coma. Von Moger has since returned to training, but continues facing ongoing physical and mental health challenges. If you think Callum's mental breakdown was extreme, wait until you see how hard this next bodybuilder pushed himself, straight to his grave in one squat. Justin Vicky. Training sessions at a Bali hotel gym were routine for 33-year-old Indonesian bodybuilder Justin Vicky, a fitness influencer whose unwavering dedication to the sport had earned him tremendous respect throughout the international bodybuilding community. His commitment to pushing his physical limits, particularly in heavy lifting, was driven by an intense desire to showcase his strength and motivate his thousands of devoted followers across social media platforms. Vicky's philosophy, as seen in his posts about not skipping leg day and the importance of practice over theory, reflected his intensely methodical methodical approach to training. He frequently performed heavy squats, often with weights ranging from 378 to 440 pounds, as meticulously documented in his social media videos. He trained with the relentless intensity of a professional competitor, constantly pushing his physical capabilities to demonstrate his prowess and maintain his hard-earned reputation as a respected athlete in the fitness industry. His training sessions were brutally intense, and he often worked with a spotter to handle extreme weights, but the mounting pressure to perform at increasingly higher levels would ultimately prove catastrophically fatal for the dedicated Indonesian athlete. On July 17, 2023, during what should have been just another routine training session, Vicky attempted something that would cost him everything he held dear. During a training session at a Bali hotel gym, Vicky attempted to squat 210 kilograms, approximately 463 pounds. As he struggled desperately to lift the crushing weight, his legs gave way completely under the enormous load. The barbell fell onto his shoulders, snapping his neck forward. The impact caused a devastating neck fracture and compromised vital nerves linked to his heart and respiratory system. Despite being rushed to the hospital immediately, Vicky died during emergency surgery due to the catastrophic severity of his injuries. Following Muslim tradition, he was buried within 24 hours, while the fitness community mourned the tragic loss. Justin Vicky's fatal push lasted seconds, but how long do you think our next bodybuilder pushed himself before his hamstring exploded weeks before Olympia? Nick Walker. The pressure to return stronger than ever completely consumed Nick Walker as he meticulously prepared for the 2023 Mr. Olympia competition. Known throughout the bodybuilding world as the Mutant, Walker had finished third in 2022 and was absolutely determined to climb higher in the rankings. Driven by an intense, almost obsessive desire to cement his status as a legitimate top Mr. Olympia contender among the sport's elite athletes. His ambitious goal to surpass his previous placement and compete directly against elite athletes like Derek Lunsford pushed him to maintain an incredibly demanding, punishing training schedule that left little room for adequate recovery. Walker's workouts emphasized heavy compound lifts to maximize muscle growth, often performed at dangerously high intensity levels. His extensively YouTube-documented training sessions showed a man completely obsessed with building a massive physique, willing to handle extreme weights to achieve the competitive conditioning required for elite-level bodybuilding competition. The burning ambition to return stronger for the 2023 Mr. Olympia led him to train relentlessly through minor aches and pains, consistently dismissing early warning signs in his desperate pursuit of a perfect physique that would dominate the competition stage. In October 2023, just weeks before the most important competition of his entire year, disaster struck during what should have been a completely routine training session. Walker tore his hamstring during training, just weeks before the Mr. Olympia competition. The injury was devastatingly severe, with video footage showing a badly bruised hamstring that made any hope of competition completely impossible.
I will not be competing in this year's Mr. Olympia due to a hamstring tear that I did right before we actually came here, and I try to push through it.
Walker's injury completely sidelined him for the entire 2023 season, forcing him to watch from the sidelines as his competitors took the stage he had trained so desperately hard to dominate. Nick Walker's body finally said enough during prep, yet this next bodybuilder pushed even harder, dying backstage at her own competition. Alina Kosanova. Dreams of competing at the prestigious Mr. Olympia consumed every waking moment for 46-year-old Czech bodybuilder Alina Kosanova, a dedicated mother whose passion for the sport led her to embrace its most dangerous extremes. Her unwavering dedication to bodybuilding pushed her to adopt grueling training regimens, severely restrictive dieting protocols, and the use of dangerous diuretics to achieve the dehydrated, defined look that modern competitions demanded and rewarded. The mounting pressure to perform at the 2021 Europa Pro and her burning ambition to reach the absolute top tier of professional bodybuilding pushed her to extreme measures that she had been warned about before. Kozanova's preparation involved grueling workouts, a highly restrictive diet, and the use of diuretics to eliminate water weight for competition readiness. Weeks before the 2021 Europa Pro, she experienced severe cramping at a contest in Portugal, but continued her dangerous regimen. Her training was overseen by coach Shelby Starnes, who provided online guidance, including specific diuretic protocols that contributed significantly to her mounting physical strain. Kosanova's desperate commitment to achieving a competitive edge led her to completely ignore obvious signs of serious distress, such as severe cramping, in her relentless pursuit of her competitive goals. On the morning of the 2021 Europa Pro in Alicante, Spain, tragedy struck during what should have been final preparation. Kosanova was preparing for her spray tan when she began cramping severely and whispered to fellow athlete Ivana Dvorakova, "I won't be able to do it. I feel really ill." She collapsed, convulsing and losing consciousness. After answering questions about her diuretic diuretic use. Despite desperate efforts to provide water, salt, and sugar, it took nearly an hour for an ambulance to arrive. She died before the competition ended. The exact cause of death was not publicly confirmed, but her use of diuretics and extreme dehydration practices were cited as contributing factors to her tragic collapse and death. While Alina pushed herself to death with diuretics, our next bodybuilder discovered that sometimes pushing through surgery isn't enough to save your career. Dennis Wolf. Years of punishing training and relentless competition had taken their toll on Dennis Wolf, a top 5 bodybuilder who in 2015 was still competing at the highest levels of the sport. His unwavering dedication to perfecting his physique, particularly his impressive back development, pushed him to train with dangerously high volume and intensity, even as warning signs of serious injuries began to emerge throughout his body. Wolf was driven by the demanding goal of competing consistently at the Mr. Olympia level and maintaining his hard-earned elite status among the world's best bodybuilders. His commitment to staying competitive in a sport completely dominated by mass and conditioning requirements meant training through pain had become a completely normal, expected practice. Wolf's training involved heavy lifting and rigorous preparation for major competitions like the 2016 Mr. Olympia. His absolute commitment to maintaining his competitive physique, despite mounting setbacks and injuries, led him to continue training through significant pain, a common practice among elite bodybuilders facing tight, unforgiving competition schedules. The breaking point came when his body simply could no longer handle the accumulated damage from years of punishment.
And the guy said, look, man, you need a surgery. I went under the knife and it didn't get better. It took me like half a year or so. And then I decided to make a comeback.
Wolf underwent significant surgery before the 2017 Mr. Olympia, which prevented him from competing. The exact nature of the injury remains undisclosed, but it was severe enough to require major medical intervention, completely halting his competitive season at the worst possible time. Wolf attempted a comeback, but his body never fully recovered, and he finished second last in his final competition before retiring. Wolf continued training post-surgery, but his competitive career was effectively over, and he has not returned to the Mr. Olympia stage since that devastating final competition. Dennis Wolf pushed until doctors forced him to stop. But what happens when a bodybuilder pushes his heart so hard it stops at 37? George Peterson. Dedication and respect defined George Peterson's approach to bodybuilding, earning him the nickname Da Bull as he carved out his place in the highly competitive classic physique division. His burning determination to become a champion and a respected figure in the sport drove him to train with punishing intensity and use performance-enhancing drugs to achieve the precise size and conditioning that the division demanded from its competitors. The mounting competitive pressure and his genuine desire to inspire others, as noted by peers like Chris Bumstead, fueled his absolutely relentless approach to training and preparation. Peterson's training regimen was characterized by high-intensity workouts, focusing on building a competitive physique through heavy lifting and strict dieting. Like many professional bodybuilders, he used anabolic steroids, including boldenone and stanozolol, to enhance muscle growth and definition. Long-term use of these powerful substances, combined with his intensely demanding training schedule, placed tremendous stress on his cardiovascular system, creating dangerous conditions that would ultimately prove fatal. The relentless pursuit of competitive excellence meant pushing his body beyond safe limits, ignoring warning signs that his heart was under severe strain. On October 6, 2021, tragedy struck suddenly and without warning. Peterson was found dead in his hotel room at age 37, just before a competition. The coroner's report cited sudden cardiac dysrhythmia due to hypertensive cardiovascular disease as the cause of death, with anabolic steroid use listed as a contributing factor. The autopsy noted ventricular hypertrophy and fatal ventricular arrhythmias, conditions linked to long-term steroid use and high-intensity training. Peterson's sudden death sent shockwaves through the bodybuilding community, with heartfelt tributes from peers highlighting his humility and incredible work ethic, while his passing sparked serious discussions about the dangerous role of performance-enhancing drugs in modern competitive bodybuilding. George Peterson's heart couldn't handle the pressure, and neither could this next bodybuilder's kidneys, failing him at just 24 years old. Daniel Alexander. At just 24 years old, Daniel Alexander represented the new generation of bodybuilders willing to push every boundary in pursuit of competitive success and recognition in the increasingly demanding sport. Like many aspiring professionals, he was driven by the desire to compete at the highest levels and achieve a physique that could stand out in the brutally competitive bodybuilding world that rewarded only the most extreme physiques. Alexander likely faced intense pressure to enhance his size and definition through extreme training protocols and supplementation, including anabolic steroids to meet the sport's increasingly demanding aesthetic standards that seem to grow more extreme each year. His ambition to succeed in a highly competitive field pushed him to adopt risky practices that were becoming common among aspiring professionals seeking rapid advancement. Alexander's regimen likely included intensely demanding weightlifting sessions and a high-protein diet, supplemented with performance-enhancing drugs to maximize muscle growth and development. The bodybuilding culture's emphasis on rapid gains and extreme conditioning often leads athletes to use steroids, diuretics, and other dangerous substances, which can place devastating strain on vital organs like the kidneys and heart. While specific details of his training methods remain scarce, his preparation for competitions involved pushing his body to handle extreme physical and chemical stress. In 2018, tragedy struck the young athlete when his body finally succumbed to the accumulated damage. Daniel Alexander, a 24-year-old bodybuilder, died due to kidney-related issues, likely exacerbated by his bodybuilding practices. A 2022 systematic review of kidney disease in bodybuilders noted that Alexander was among those who denied using anabolic androgenic steroids, diuretics, or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, but his death was linked to kidney injury, possibly from high-protein diets or contaminated supplements. The lack of a complete toxicology report leaves some uncertainty about the exact cause, but his case aligns with disturbing patterns of organ damage seen in bodybuilders pushing extreme regimens, and his death at such a young age highlighted the hidden dangers lurking within the sport's most common practices. Daniel Alexander pushed his organs to failure in private, but our next bodybuilder pushed so hard his chest literally exploded for everyone to witness. Ryan Crowley. The atmosphere was electric, as UK bodybuilder Ryan Crowley trained alongside the legendary Larry Wheels, seeking to establish himself in the competitive bodybuilding scene through displays of raw strength that would earn him recognition. His burning drive to push his strength limits, particularly in powerlifting-style lifts, was fueled by an intense desire to prove himself and gain much-needed recognition in the highly competitive bodybuilding community. Crowley regularly engaged in heavy lifting sessions, including attempting to bench press 480 pounds with assistance, all in pursuit of building the strength and size that would set him apart from other competitors. His training intensity, combined with the competitive environment and pressure to perform at elite levels, led him to attempt lifts that pushed his physical limits far beyond safe boundaries. The competitive atmosphere and desire to impress during training sessions often led to poor decision-making, with athletes attempting weights that were beyond their current capabilities, prioritizing immediate recognition over long-term health and safety.
So we re-rack it, reset myself, take the bar off again, I'm like, stay with me, Larry, just want to make sure. So as I come down really slowly, and then bang, it happens. Life-changing incident for me. Couldn't believe it. Luckily enough, Larry grabbed the bar, probably saved my life.
On March 2021, during what should have been an inspiring training session, disaster struck in the most brutal way imaginable. Crowley tore his pectoral muscle while bench pressing 480 pounds with Larry Wheels. Video footage captured a loud crack and visible tear, followed by Crowley collapsing in pain. He described the injury as causing extreme swelling, like touching my chin, and required surgery within 28 hours. Crowley underwent emergency surgery and faced a challenging recovery period, but has since returned to training, though the incident forever changed his approach to lifting and served as a stark reminder of how quickly everything can change. Think Ryan Crowley's pec tear was brutal? This next bodybuilder pushed prep drugs so hard, his heart stopped 4 days before stepping on stage. Brandon Charlie. 4 days before what should have been the culmination of months of preparation, 23-year-old Brandon Charlie from Livermore, California, was found dead in his apartment, the victim of bodybuilding's most dangerous practices. His motivation was simple, yet deadly. He was driven by his goal to compete in an upcoming bodybuilding show, and his burning desire to achieve a competitive physique pushed him to adopt the most extreme measures possible. His drive to achieve the perfect look for competition led him to prioritize rapid results over health, embracing dangerous practices that had become normalized in certain bodybuilding circles. Charlie's preparation involved a strict diet, heavy steroid use, and extreme dehydration practices to achieve a dry look for his show. The pressure to meet the sport's demanding aesthetic standards and perform well in competition likely led him to prioritize short-term gains over long-term survival. Police reports noted over 100 needles and multiple vials of steroids in his apartment, indicating significant performance-enhancing drug use. A friend reported that he was not allowed to consume water during his prep, a dangerous practice to enhance muscle visibility that can lead lead to severe health complications. His training likely included intensely demanding workouts to maximize muscle size, compounding the physical stress from his dangerous chemical regimen that was pushing his body beyond its breaking point. In 2018, just 4 days before his competition, tragedy struck. Brandon Char Lee was found dead in his apartment. Police discovered evidence of extensive steroid use, including 5 types of steroids, clenbuterol, diuretics, and T3. A coroner concluded he died of cardiac failure, with his history of anabolic steroid use noted as a contributing factor. The extreme dehydration and performance-enhancing drug use had triggered a fatal cardiac event, ending his life just days before the competition he had sacrificed everything to prepare for. Brandon pushed chemicals until cardiac failure, but our next bodybuilder found out what happens when you push 675 pounds beyond your body's breaking point. Jean-Pierre Fuchs. The Swiss mass monster, Jean-Pierre Fuchs, was living every bodybuilder's dream during a high-profile photo shoot for Flex magazine in the early 2000s, when his pursuit of perfection turned into a nightmare that would end his competitive career forever. Driven by ambition to become a top-tier competitor in the IFBB, Fuchs aimed to stand out in an era dominated by legends like Lee Haney, pursuing the massive, aesthetic physique required to compete at events like Mr. Olympia and Arnold Classic. The pressure to maintain his reputation as a mass monster pushed him to prioritize size and strength, often at the cost of safety, embracing training methods that pushed far beyond reasonable limits. Fuchs's training regimen focused on heavy compound lifts, particularly squats, to build the size necessary for professional bodybuilding. His workouts were brutally intense, often involving weights far beyond typical limits, as he sought to maximize muscle growth and maintain his competitive edge. During the Flex magazine photo shoot, Fuchs was asked to perform heavy squats for additional shots, despite having already completed a demanding session. This relentless drive to showcase his strength, combined with the physical demands of professional bodybuilding, set the stage for a catastrophic accident that would change everything.
As I was in a 90-degree angle to come back up, the amount of weight felt like I had a mountain on my shoulders. It was crushing me, just standing there like an evil force. And as I went down, my left quad above the knee tore completely.
During the photo shoot, Fuchs was squatting approximately 675 pounds. As he descended to a 90-degree angle, his left quadriceps muscle separated and the weight shifted, causing his right leg to twist unnaturally. The entire weight collapsed onto his right side, severely damaging both knees. The accident ended his competitive career, as the damage to his knees made it impossible to continue training at the elite level. Fuchs's ability to walk normally was permanently impaired, and he transitioned to coaching, working with athletes like Cortez Aldo, who placed second in a physique competition in June 2023. Jean-Pierre's legs couldn't handle the crushing weight, yet this next bodybuilder pushed drug abuse so far he documented his own destruction for the world. Boston Lloyd. Controversy followed Boston Lloyd everywhere he went, but nothing was more controversial than his approach to bodybuilding itself, an approach that would ultimately cost him his life at just 29 years old. Unlike many professionals who kept their drug use secret, Lloyd was brutally honest about his extensive use of steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs, viewing his body as a testing ground to push the absolute limits of muscle growth. His outspoken nature and burning ambition to stand out in a competitive field led him to prioritize extreme chemical enhancement over long-term health, despite repeated warnings from family and medical professionals. Lloyd's regimen was extreme beyond measure, involving massive doses of steroids, growth hormones, insulin, and other dangerous substances, far beyond typical bodybuilding protocols. He openly shared his drug cycles, including high doses of testosterone, trenbolone, and synthol, emphasizing rapid gains over gradual progress. His training was intense, but secondary to his chemical approach, as he famously stated that training was only 5% of bodybuilding success compared to drugs and diet. His work with coaches like John O'Regan, known for aggressive performance-enhancing drug protocols, pushed his body to toxic levels, causing physical distress like inability to eat or shave due to severe side effects. In 2013, Lloyd's mother, Marie Raya, a natural bodybuilder, noted that he had surgery to remove water blisters from excessive needle injections and was warned by doctors about impending liver and kidney failure if he continued his regimen. Despite these dire warnings, Lloyd persisted with high-dose performance-enhancing drug use, refusing medical advice, and self-prescribing beta blockers for symptoms like rapid heart rate. His mistrust of doctors and refusal to seek proper medical attention sealed his fate.
Well, he posted something right on social media, literally, I don't know if it was a week or 2 weeks before he passed, saying, "Don't do what I did." And I knew what he meant by that.
Oh my God, he said that? That's like a death wish right there.
On February 25, 2022, Lloyd collapsed at his home and died at age 29. A private autopsy revealed he died of a dissecting aneurysm of the ascending aorta with a severely thickened heart muscle, a massively enlarged liver, and significant kidney damage, all likely exacerbated by his long-term steroid use. Syringes found on his kitchen counter suggested ongoing drug use at the time of death, and his final social media posts warned others not to follow his path. Boston Lloyd pushed substances until his organs burst, but our next story shows what happens when you push mass so hard your heart grows dangerously large. Dallas McCarver. The future of bodybuilding seemed to rest on the massive shoulders of Dallas McCarver, nicknamed Big Country, who was being hailed as a potential Mr. Olympia champion due to his incredible size and relentless work ethic. At just 21, he had earned his IFBB Pro card, driven by a burning ambition to dominate the sport and build a lasting legacy with major brands like Redcon One. The immense pressure to maintain his status as a mass monster and compete against the world's top athletes pushed him to embrace extreme training and performance-enhancing drug protocols, encouraged by coaches like John O'Regan and Chad Nichols, who were known for their aggressive enhancement strategies. McCarver's training involved punishingly heavy lifting sessions designed to build his 300-pound-plus physique, paired with extreme dieting and performance-enhancing drugs, including high doses of testosterone, growth hormone, and dangerous diuretics. His coaches' protocols emphasized rapid size gains, with McCarver reaching a massive 345 pounds in the off-season, far above the 285 pounds his coach Haney Rambod had recommended for optimal health. His use of diuretics like Demodex, similar to Lasix, aimed to achieve a dry, defined look but posed significant risks, including potassium depletion and organ stress. The first major warning sign came during the March 2017 Arnold Classic Australia, when McCarver collapsed on stage, initially attributed to an upper respiratory infection and bronchitis. However, Boston Lloyd and others speculated that diuretic use, particularly Demodex, caused severe dehydration and electrolyte imbalances, leading to the frightening collapse that should have served as a wake-up call. On August 22, 2017, tragedy struck the 26-year-old rising star. McCarver was found unconscious in his home, surrounded by scattered food, and died at age 26. Initially reported as choking, his autopsy revealed a cardiac event due to coronary atherosclerosis and an enlarged left ventricle, with his heart weighing 833 grams, nearly 3 times normal. His family history of cardiovascular disease and performance-enhancing drug use, including testosterone levels at 55,000 NDL 50 times normal, were contributing factors. McCarver's death shocked the bodybuilding community, with tributes from peers like Aaron Singerman of Redcon, one highlighting his dedication, while his passing prompted serious discussions about the dangers of extreme size and performance-enhancing drug abuse in modern competitive bodybuilding. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.